Discover solutions to issues that affect your family and professional life with practical information to help you get past life's adversities. Take a proactive approach to power up your life with Rosalie's expert resources.
In 2004, many were unprepared for the team of hurricanes that hit from Pensacola to South Florida. Little did Florida residents know it was the beginning of a 6-week period of tropical storms and statewide hurricane activity in the Sunshine State. Charlie, Francis, Ivan, and Jean are imprinted in the minds of those Floridians affected by those storms. Not to mention the emergency response team, who were busy 24/7, scattered throughout the state. The response to these storms by local, state, and emergency management teams was exceptional. At one point, response efforts were ongoing from South Florida all the way northwest to Pensacola. Floridians who experienced a series of hurricanes will never forget what they lived through. The state of Florida emergency management reminds us of 3 basic concepts. All hazards preparedness is the foundation of readiness for all disasters. The cycle of emergency management includes preparedness, response, recovery, and mitigation. And all disasters are local. Home maintenance and repairs prevent further damage in the case of a large downpour, tropical storm, or a hurricane hits your home. Check for expanding cracks, dampness, and movement. Minor cracks are normal, but if you notice cracks that are widening, it could cost from $400 to $800 to repair. But if you leave this unchecked, replacing the foundation wall could cost thousands upon thousands. Depending on the age of your house, expect to spend 1% to 3% on the value of your home for home maintenance each and every year. These repairs increase as your house gets older. Hurricane preparedness in Florida takes a lot more planning than having water and supplies. Preparedness begins by securing your home. Have a professional roofer examine your roof and, if needed, seal the roof deck and strengthen the roof's connections. This will protect your home from wind-driven rain. If you have a roof leak that's difficult to identify the location of intrusion, a forensic roofer will investigate the nature of its leak, as Carlos Manzana of Miami demonstrates how to locate an unexplained leak.
Okay, what we're gonna do is try to locate the sources of the water intrusion and see the damages inside as we spotted them. What we first do is inspect the attic cavity for obvious signs of leaks. Like in this case over here, we spotted the water coming from the area of the plywood right over there, and we could locate at least the area where the roof was leaking. Okay, if you can see this area, the leak was coming through one of those nails. It's slightly discolored, okay, because the leaks were not tremendously big. So when we came here, it had rained, or we water tested it, and we saw the sheen on the underside of the plywood, so we could pinpoint exactly the location of the leaks. Yeah, the way to spot the leaks is if you can see them on the underside of the sheeting and also on the top side of the drywall. The leaks were very small, but there are some obvious stains and dirt there on top of the drywall. The leaks were small, but we were able to locate them anyway. Okay, here what you see is a little bit of daylight, which indicates there's a break in the pipe. The material that was used is probably incompatible and the leak continues. So, and it was assumed to have been a roof leak. We fixed all around it. We tightened the area around this vent. But now when we water tested it, we realized that there was a leak also coming from inside the pipe. So the pipe will need to be repaired also. Down below, which is the edge between the garage and the bedroom, which is this area here. You can see the garage is not air conditioned, so it has no insulation. But from this member on, this is the bedroom. And this increasing height is the kitchen. So we can locate ourselves in relation to what's underneath. This is the area, the boundary between the garage and the bedroom or studio in the front, and this is the kitchen, which is slightly higher. The reason why we can determine that this is the edge of these two different areas is because there's no insulation above the garage, because there's no air conditioning on the garage. So we saw some water stains along this line. She also has some mold issues in the cabinets, so we were looking for a leak, which obviously has to manifest first. So what we did is eliminated the roof sheathing as a principal suspect in this staining issue that we have seen in the bedroom and the mold issue in the kitchen. So if they are not associated with any roof leaks, then we need to look for any other probable cause. One of them is condensation. So we decided to check the insulation on the areas where we noticed the staining, okay, which is somewhere around here. But by removing the insulation, we were able to determine that the drywall is in very good condition. It has no staining. Okay, so this eliminated also the condensation issue. So there are no leaks from the roof, and there's no condensation from here. So further tests will need to be conducted. Probably there's an interior condition, but it's not related to the attic or to the roof. What you do is you first do water test, locate the leak, then you repair it, water test it again to see if it's watertight, and then you proceed to close the roof. In this case, we were water testing and we found that this leak continues, and there's two leaks in the front that are still not watertight, so we will need to do some more repair work before we close the roof. The process is very logical, but what happens is many people make assumptions, and that's where assumptions will kill you, because especially if you're a professional, you think that you know it all, you know, and you think that you found them and so on and so forth, and sometimes that's not the case.
You've been there for us. Let us be there for you. The hurricanes have affected everyone. If you are a rescue worker who needs someone to talk to, trained in caring help is waiting. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is take care of yourself.
Once the leak origin is found, a forensic plumber can help with technology that identifies where the water is settling and causing mold, which is another costly undertaking. Water damage can cause mold due to a damaged pipe, storm damage to a roof, or windows or even doors that have a disparity, or of course, rising water from a flood. Regardless of the source, insurance coverage for water and mold damage varies with individual policies.
We got a call that they have signs of water showing up in their house, so they couldn't figure out what was the cause, and that's what we came out to do. We came out to find out what was going on. And how we find this leak is, or the problem is, we visually inspect the inside of the wall with my fiber scope. I basically just drill a small hole in there, and this is a visual aid. It's flexible so I can move it around. The end articulates for extra movement, and has a small light on it so I can see inside the wall in dark spaces. and then I just see what the problem is. There's a small hole that I had already drilled into the hole, into the wall, so now my light is on. Basically, I just slide my camera in enough to look around inside the wall and see what your problem is. I'm trying to find the spot with mold on it to explain why you're getting staining inside your wall, and I just found it. So with this, I'm able to visually see mold growth inside of your wall.
There's 3 ways to protect your home by preparing for summer storms. Seal and secure your roof. Seal and secure your soffits. Seal and secure windows and doors. South Florida property manager Sam Villano pinpoints areas of the home that must be addressed to prevent water intrusion.
Okay, Rosalie, some of the most vital points in the home's vulnerability are the actual soffit fence, the corner beads, the stucco itself, around any interior, exterior doors, windows, exhaust fans, plumbing pipes, stack pipes in the roofs. A lot of these areas are vulnerable to water intrusion if not properly taken preventive maintenance issues. Caulking, such windows and openings and corner beads prior to actually painting a home's exterior can be very pertinent to any future water intrusion. Soffit vents are a gateway for pests, water, and various other issues that can occur in the soffits of a home. So the necessary precautions need to be made in the soffits as well. It's very pertinent that the homeowner is aware of these issues and that they're properly being maintained for any future storms that may occur. Okay, Rosalie, this is one of the situations I'd like to bring to a homeowner's attention. What we have here is we actually have delamination of the exterior home paint. This is actually due to the intrusion of water, which can occur at the top of a stucco ledge or even up at the soffit from a vent. But what happens is the water will seep down behind the stucco, and actually the moisture needs to escape from the masonry, and what it does is bubble and delaminate the paint on the exterior surface of the home. If you pan in here as well, you can also see that there's a plastic corner bead that gives you a perfect edge in your stucco line, and what happens is it becomes a highway for water. Rosalie, as you can see here, this is actually a hairline crack in the actual stucco veneer finish of the home, and what happens is the water intrusion gets into this crack, causing the actual paint to bubble and delaminate, and the water actually goes into the masonry as well and can cause mold issues down the line if not properly maintained. As you can see down at the bottom where the corner bead and the stucco meet, there has been intrusion of water, there is delamination, and there is a cause for concern, and there are preventive maintenance issues that need to be addressed as well. You can see by the bubbling of the paint that the water is actually getting behind the masonry itself. This has just been painted and caulked. This is what all your window openings, all your soffit vents, everything should have an adequate bead of an acrylic siliconized caulking as well as a paint. There shouldn't be any cracks or crevices within that to hinder any water intrusion in the future or during the course of any storm. Rosalie, as you can see in the frame, what we're looking at here is the soffit, where the home soffit meets the fascia board. You could actually see that it's not been sealed. It's very important as a preventive maintenance issue prior to painting that is done. We use an acrylic, siliconized acrylic caulking. They come in 10, 20, and 30 years, depending on the price. It's very important that a homeowner does a visual annual inspection on the soffit vents to make sure there's no rips or tears in the vents, and that also make sure that they're adequately sealed off with the acrylic latex caulking as well. Water intrusion causes multi-millions of dollars in damage yearly in South Florida area alone. Again, I can't emphasize and stress to you enough the pertinence of the actual window penetrations being caulked, and in some cases they actually use a backer rod and they use caulking as well. Again, the annual inspections on the soffit vents, the inspection of your fascia boards. You want to make sure that they're adequately sealed off as well. You don't want to have any rips or tears in any of your soffit vents and have any future pest intrusion as well as water intrusion. We know that the caulking needs to be done around the windows. We know that the soffit vents need to be free of any tears, and they need to be sealed as well. Any cracks in the foundation of the block work or any of your stucco that has any water intrusion needs to be sealed and caulked and to avoid any of this future stuff. And unfortunately, you learn from your mistakes. To get a reputable painter and contractor to your home. Make sure any cracks, crevices, and whether it's structural cracks or soffit cracks or around windows, just make sure you have adequate preparatory measures and preventive maintenance installations done around your windows, around your soffits, do a yearly inspection on your roof. Don't wait till after the storm, till the monetary impact supersedes the monetary amount of money it would take to do the preventive maintenance on a yearly basis.
My family's counting on me. Do we rebuild? How can we go on? I'm so tired. Is it even worth it? I'm not sure I can be strong. How do I find a job? All the baby pictures, the kids' trophies, childcare, everything is gone.
Mommy.
In a recent interview with Brian Kuhn, Director of Florida Division of Emergency Management, we asked the director to explain the function of Florida's State Emergency Response Team, known as CERT.
The CERT is the State Emergency Response Team, and that is the group that comes together here in the Emergency Operations Center in Tallahassee to deal with natural or man-made disasters in the state. And it's made up of employees from the Division of Emergency Management, as well as representatives from all of the other state agencies who have a role in helping Florida deal with disasters, as well as our partners from the military, from non-governmental organizations, from the private sector, and from our federal partners at FEMA and the Department of Homeland Security.
When does the state response begin on a local level?
Depending on the type of storm, we may have activated the Emergency Operations Center beforehand. So for example, if it's a hurricane and we can see that it's coming, we'll have activated the Emergency Operations Center in advance. But if it's a no-notice storm, so for example, a tornado outburst, as soon as we've been notified of that situation and we are aware that it's going to exceed the capacity at the local level, we can stand up the Emergency Operations Center here to provide support to those local authorities who are dealing with that situation, and we'll bring in the appropriate emergency support functions from the state who help in that situation. So it could be folks from transportation, it could be somebody who's helping with mass care, it could be our partners at military affairs. Whatever the resources we're going to need to bring to bear in that situation to help that community respond to that situation and begin the recovery, that's what we're going to be doing here at the State Emergency Operations Center.
What response resources are in place at Florida's Emergency Management?
One of the things that the Division of Emergency Management works on year-round is to help Floridians and visitors to Florida understand the hazards that are present in Florida and the things that individuals, businesses, organizations can do to help prepare themselves to deal with those situations, be it a hurricane, wildfire, tornado, severe storm, etc. And so we work with those organizations to help folks understand how they can impact them and the proactive steps they can take to help get them through that situation, to prepare themselves for it so that they will be better situated when the storm occurs, and that after the storm has passed, that they can take care of themselves and their families.
What are our personal planning responsibilities as Florida residents?
The things that you can do to best prepare yourselves and your family, your organization for a storm are to consider how it's going to impact you in your specific location, whether that means high winds, high water, the fact that you could be cut off without power or communications or access to the road network, and then to take the appropriate precautions based on that threat, and to have a plan for how you're going to communicate with your loved ones, with your customers, with your suppliers, with your friends, how you're going to take care of yourself, how you're going to have food, water, Take care of things such as having flashlights, batteries, extra cash on hand in case you can't access a bank or an ATM, medicines, food and other items for your pets, important documents such as your insurance documents, those things that you're going to need to sustain yourself for at least 72 hours after the situation has passed.
So how does emergency management kick into action on a local level?
Florida has a very robust emergency management system. Every county has its own emergency management department. Every county has its own emergency management director. And in the vast majority of incidents within the state, they are handled at the local level. There are certain instances, however, where the situation is going to outstrip the capacities of the local authorities. And that's when the state of Florida can step in and assist with those resources that they don't have there at the local level and make sure that we bring those to bear on the situation to respond as quickly as possible to save lives and also to begin the recovery process more quickly and get the community back up on its feet as rapidly as possible.
What is the process of implementing Florida's mitigation plan, and when does that process begin?
Mitigation simply means that you are trying to design your systems and your structures to be better prepared for the hazards which they could face. So for example, building a house so that it's going to be more resistant to high winds, elevating a home so that it's going to have less of a chance of flooding over the lifetime of its existence, building drainage systems which are going to be able to handle the largest floods that an area may have, taking a look at installing generators, or at least the ability to quickly connect a generator in areas that may be prone to power outages. Basically designing structures and systems so that they are going to have less of an impact from a natural or man-made disaster. And it's a continual process involved in everything from when you design new construction, thinking about the effects that a storm may have on it, to as you recover from a storm, how you can build that structure back stronger so that the next time it will have a lesser impact.
So who are considered the vulnerable population the state can assist before a storm hits?
Vulnerable populations are simply those who don't have the resources necessary to take care of themselves during a storm or other man-made disaster. And so there's two things in that. First of all, government is going to have limited resources to deal with a situation, deal with a hurricane. And so it's incumbent upon those who can take care of themselves to do so that government can focus on those more vulnerable parts of the population, those who are transportation disadvantaged, the elderly, handicapped. And so we want to make sure that we understand what their needs are and put into place programs to assist them in that situation, to get them to a place of safety, to understand where they are in the community and what their needs are. And it's a continual process of working with those populations, better understanding their needs and putting into place the programs to help them through those situations.
What specific resources are in place to help Florida residents and visitors?
Florida does have a robust shelter network around the state to help citizens take refuge from a storm. However, it should not be anyone's first choice. It would be much better if citizens worked with their friends and family and loved ones to relocate away from the path of a storm and stay with them as it passed, or go to a hotel elsewhere in the state, with going to a shelter as their last option, because shelters are going to not be as comfortable as staying in a hotel or staying with friends and family. They're not going to offer the amenities that you may find in those locations. They are simply going to offer you a safe place to be during the course of that storm.
So what are some of the greatest lessons we learned from past storms?
Hurricane Andrew should be a reminder that regardless of where you are in the state of Florida, you can be impacted by a strong hurricane, and that you need to make sure that you understand those risks and that you take the proactive steps necessary to prepare yourselves and your families, your organizations, your businesses, etc., for the potential consequences of those types of storms.
What are some resources of state partners in place?
Families should have a disaster plan. They should go to floridadisaster.org and take a look at some of the templates that we have there, some of the guidelines that we have there that will help them develop their own plan. It will help them evaluate the threat in their local communities, help them understand the types of things they should have based on their family, based on whether they have children or not, whether they have pets or not, whether they're caring for elderly family members. They can look at their evacuation routes, they can look at nearby shelters, all of the things that they need to be aware of so that they can have a good plan that they can keep year-round to deal with not only hurricanes and tropical storms, but also wildfires, tornadoes, and other threats that they may face as Floridians. And so, you know, we want everybody to take a look at floridadisaster.org, put together that plan, pull out the checklist that shows the items that they should have in their family disaster kit, and make sure that they've considered all those things they're going to need to take care of themselves for at least 72 hours after a storm occurs.
Emergency preparedness begins by securing your home, sealing gaps around windows and doors, clearing drains, gutters, and downspouts of debris to protect from mold and pests, and securing your roof and soffits. Take a proactive approach to addressing the needs of all your family members, the disabled, the elderly, and of course, your pets. Learn more on how to create a family disaster plan at floridadisaster.org. And share your family plan with us on Facebook and RosalieArcherShow.com. Have a safe and healthy summer season. See you next week. Will the solutions to this show's issues help you or a loved one? Find shows like this and others on our website at RosalieArcherShow.com.